And now I have the honor of introducing County Councilwoman Lisa Rodvien.
Thank you and good afternoon, everyone. I apologize, I'm a little hoarse. I'm still getting over some sort of bug, but I just really want to start out by saying how honored I am to be invited to speak here. I met James back in the 2018 campaign cycle, and I feel like one of the first things about any politician is how hard they work. And let's just say I got to know James reasonably well because he was everywhere. And when you're everywhere, that means that you're out there and you're doing the work and you're getting to meet people. He came really, really close to winning that race. And I have to say I was bummed because I was looking forward to working with him on the county council. But I'm also very grateful that we elected Steuart Pittman, who made the very wise choice to bring him into his administration. So I still have had the opportunity to work with James. And one of the things that I liked about James from the beginning is it's just obvious he makes good choices. And he's a very honest and straightforward person. Like Mr. Martin said, you know, you can spot a fake a mile away, but sometimes you can spot someone who's honest a mile away too. And you know that they're going to be a straight shooter and they're going to be there for you and they're going to be trustworthy and honest. And those things matter so much in the world of politics, obviously to constituents more than anything, but among colleagues too. We work with each other and we want to know that we have each other's backs. And if we disagree, we need to know that too. So I'm grateful for James. And again, back to the decision making, I will say one of my favorite things about James is his family. He's got an awesome wife, and you know, even though his young people are young, they remembered me and they actually said hello. And I think that's a tribute to the kind of family that you guys are, that you know, this is a family, you're working together as a family already in this campaign. And I'm gonna, on that note of family, I'm gonna tell a little story. Over the Christmas holiday, I sort of had a family emergency that came up, and unfortunately it came up in the middle of a lunch that I was having with James. We met up to lunch, or for lunch, to talk about some, you know, campaign related things and actually this event and whatnot. And in the middle of it, I had to go and take care of a family thing, and I felt terrible because our lunch got cut short when we really needed to be talking about things. And James said, "Don't even worry about it. Family comes first." And I think that's the way a lot of us feel. And I feel like that speaks volumes about James's character. And when it comes down to it, we're all a family. Our big community is a family. So I know that he's going to continue to put his own family, but all of our families first. I love the fact that James is a teacher. As a teacher myself, a person who came to the field of teaching after working in the field of law, you know, I was one of those people that really didn't have a sense of how incredibly challenging the job is. And one of the things that we do in county government is we support our public schools and we support our teachers. In fact, about half of our budget goes to the county public schools. So having someone who has that experience is huge. Because first off, I'm guessing there's some teachers or maybe some retired teachers in the room. You know how hard the job is. It really, you know, good teachers make it look easy. Oh, by the way, he married one too. More good decision making because they're good people. So I love the fact that we could have someone who really has the insight on what it's like. And I'm just going to close by saying, over the weekend, or I guess, what day is it? Sometimes you don't know what day it is. Does anyone know what day it is? It's Saturday. It's Saturday. Thank you. A couple days ago, a friend of mine, actually my sister, sent me a speech by J.B. Pritzker and governor of Illinois. So I'm on the Illinois theme tonight. But it was something that she just like, yo, Lisa, you need to hear this. You need to hear this. And the whole speech was centered around the theme of the kindest people in the room are often the smartest people in the room. And that really, first off, I was very flattered that my sister sent that to me because she's like the smartest person and I know. I think, you know, people think I'm smart, but my sister, she's the smart one in the family. But that's also how I think of James. He's not only incredibly kind, he's incredibly intelligent. By the way, I think you probably have heard he just earned his PhD. So for the challenging times that we are in, we have so many, and I know we probably want to take a break from them for just a little while, because if you're like me, you've spent a lot of time recently thinking about all of the challenges that are in front of us. but we need someone who is going to be bold and has their values clearly in their hands and understands what is at stake and is not going to hesitate to make the hard choices. We need someone who's going to be willing to make the hard choices and who's going to stand up for our community, whether that means standing up for immigrants, whether that means standing up for people who are in need of affordable housing, whether that means standing up for the environment, which is, we are the front line of climate change here in Anne Arundel County. Whether that means standing up for budget cuts that we may have to backfill because the federal government has decided they don't want to fund the Department of Education and special education. So we're going to need someone who's going to be willing to make those hard choices and do it with compassion and intelligence and kindness. And he's going to work with the community to make those decisions and make the best decisions and keep this place the amazing place it is. Even maybe you'd call it the best place for all. And I'm so thrilled to be here and honored to be supporting James. And I'm so glad to see a room full of people who already know about James. And I look forward to seeing more of you. And I can't wait to have you as our next county executive. And speaking of county executives, I actually think another thing, I know I finished my speech, but one of the things I like about James is I really believe he is the best person to continue the legacy of our current county executive, who I believe has done an outstanding job also in challenging times. So with that, I'm honored to introduce County Executive Steuart Pittman.
So I'm going to do something that I rarely do, which is stick to a script. I have been tempted. I've been back and forth in my mind here. There's so many things I want to say about James that if I wing it, I'll probably be talking for way too long because I know a lot about James and we've been through a lot. But yesterday I sat down and put it on paper so that it wouldn't be too long. And I'm actually going to read it. So bear with me. Over the last 6 years, I have learned a lot about what it takes to govern in Anne Arundel County. And I've also learned some things about what it takes to win an election in Anne Arundel County. So I ran for county executive against my predecessor because nobody else would. No Democrats or Republicans. That could be because 4 years earlier in Anne Arundel County, Steve Shue beat an experienced Democrat, George Johnson, by 22%. 22%. I stepped up because I believed that there was a majority coalition that could be built in this county that would support what I and many others stood for over what he stood for. And that turned out to be right. We won by 4.7% in 2018 and by 7.7% in 2022. Both times, my opponents spent lots more money than we did. Both times, my opponent's money came primarily from development interests, and both times we won. I feel good about what we've accomplished for public servants, for students, for taxpayers, for voices who've never had a real seat at the table, and for people who love the neighborhoods where they live and the environment that sustains us. But there's a lot more to do, both on offense and defense. And my job will end on December 3rd, 2026. So the reason that I'm here today is that I care deeply about what happens next to our government institutions, to our land, and to our people. So I met James Kitchin for the first time at Killarney House in the fall of 2017. Yeah, he didn't have any money. We were both planning to run as Democrats for county council in the pretty red 7th district. We thought we should at least meet each other before we did battle. I think we were both disappointed about that meeting because we were both impressed by each other and we liked each other and we didn't really relish the idea of running against each other. And not long after that, I decided to run for county executive. And we were both on the same team. We stood alongside one another at the Take Back Our County rally on December 17th of that year in my barn in South County. And we both ran hard campaigns. James ran the strongest District 7 campaign of any Democrat before him, but his opponent spent more than any county council candidate in the history of this county, and Jessica Hare won that election, and I hired James. During his first year on the job, he emerged as the natural leader of the community engagement and constituent services team, so I promoted him to director. And I can honestly say that had I not done so, I might well have been a one-term county executive. And I won't go into all the times he saved my career and turned really difficult situations into progress. And never was it easy. James got to know every neighborhood in our diverse county, every hot issue, every department of county government, and was forced to live in that uncomfortable space between communities demanding action and bureaucracies trying to get the job done. I've watched him in that space during COVID, during land use battles, and after the murder of George Floyd. I've seen James navigate a lot of things, and something I've noticed is that the people he works the closest to, the people who've struggled alongside him, always end up admiring him. I'm talking about people who worked with him in communities and in county government. And that is actually why this room is completely full, as most of you have been through something with James and you admire him. So like all the best leaders, James creates leaders. That's how Vincent Molden went from being James's new hire on the CECS team to replacing James as the CECS director, allowing James to move closer to me to dig deeper into the challenges that we face in the county every single day. So, what makes me think that James Kitchin will make a great county executive? I'll just give you 4 reasons. 1, he has more knowledge of county communities and county government than any candidate ever has. If they had an exam for qualifications to be county executive, he would score the highest, I will guarantee you, than anybody ever has, because he has a memory that doesn't forget anything. He is both detail-oriented and a big thinker. He's got a PhD in local government. The more stress he is under, the calmer and the wiser he gets. And this job requires exactly that kind of temperament. And he's both a collaborator and a leader. He does not always agree with me. In fact, I've watched him chafe a little bit, always respectfully, when that's the case. And what that tells me is that he is ready to lead. Most people know that I only endorse early when I am very sure that my candidate can win. So I'm going to tell you why I think James can and will win. Again, 4 reasons. First, he knows the politics of this county, every community of this county, and he respects every single one. He can meet people where they are, and that's what people respond to. 2, the first decision of his campaign was to use the new campaign finance system. By taking the hard path of no contributions over $250, he demonstrates to voters that he can govern without a bias that favors a small group of large donors. People will respond to that. And I think that's another reason why we have this room filled. And by the way, James' ability to raise the money that he needs to get his message out in this campaign is completely dependent on the people in this room. And yes, I've got my check, my $250. You can max out for $250. I mean, how many of us have ever been able to afford to max out in a campaign? And if you give $5, you're one of the people that he needs to be able to meet the threshold to get the public finance. You need a threshold of people and a threshold of dollars. And James will get there rather quickly, I think. Third, I've got 4. Third is nobody works harder than James. That's already been mentioned. Very true. And he is surrounded by a group of equally hardworking people, and people respond to that. And fourth, his coalition is the same coalition that put me in office, but it runs deeper with James. Nobody else can engage community associations, environmental organizations, civil rights organizations, labor organizations, and faith organizations with the depth of commitment that James can. They already know him and they already trust him. And there's one more asset that James has that makes me believe that he will both win and be a great county executive, and that is his family. It's been mentioned already. I know how important that is. Having done this job, Sam and Drew are here. Thank you for being here. They didn't work very hard on my campaign, but I know they'll work hard on James' campaign because he's way cooler. And my wife, Erin. It's impossible to do this. It's impossible to do that. I can't imagine doing this without rocks at home. Not throwing rocks, but rocks at home that you can really depend on. And I've watched James with his family get that strength from Isa, from Morgan, and from Lauren. And Lauren herself is actually a force to be reckoned with, a superpower, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to introduce her now, but I will tell you that the last budget town hall, it was 2 budget town halls ago, she was there in her TAC shirt, Teachers Association of Anne Arundel County, and she walked up to me at the end. There were about 30 or 40 of them, and they had very, very compelling testimony. And she pointed her finger at me and she said, "Did you hear that? Did you hear all of that?" Yeah. Okay, good. So I have a feeling that James will come home every day, and that will be what keeps him honest and straight and doing the right thing every single day, and always has been. So for all of these reasons, today, I am formally endorsing Dr. James Kitchin in his campaign to be the next Anne Arundel County executive so that he can continue making the place where we all live the best place for all.